I'll just get things kicked off here. Just a couple of comments. First of all, I served as the chair of the eldership. We take turns serving as chair, and if we're going to bring on new men as elders, it'll be a while until I'm chair again, which is nice. Yeah, it could be a couple of years. We'll see. Yeah. So, but I wanted to have the congregational meeting tonight, and one thing I did inadvertently is I caused the Sisters Praying for Sisters to cancel their meeting tonight, and I apologize. That's my fault. It's just in the excitement of getting these guys up to present their some thoughts this year. I stepped all of it, so I apologize. And I know I talked to Gretchen earlier. That's a ministry she's taken on this year, and it's an important ministry, but I unfortunately stepped on that, so I apologize. I just had a couple of thoughts before these guys come up. I was thinking about, over the past couple of years, with the access of things like Zoom and Microsoft Teams and things like that, I've been able to connect with people all over the country, all over the world in different ways, classes and seminars and things like that. And it's been fantastic. But there was one that I went to, I think it was the third time this year, and the organizer had, over the past couple of years, broadcast that, live streamed it, and said, I'm not doing it this year. I'm not going to live stream it this year. And the people who attended that said, there's nothing like being here in person. It is not the same. When you're there in person, the best part of the conference is the conversations you have in the breaks, at the lunchtime, at dinner time, after the conference is over and a lot of people have gone to bed. And I started thinking about that in terms of the church and saying, I hope we aspire to be a place where it is nothing like being here. What we just sang earlier, the beautiful singing and worshiping, to just the interactions we have. A busy day today with gingerbread houses, and over the last week, the men having the tool exchange and the ladies having the ornament exchange. And I hope we will strive to make this a place where there's nothing like being here. This morning, there was a young man here sitting in the foyer, sitting on the pew in the foyer, just by himself. And he sat, nobody talked to him until finally somebody went and introduced themselves and found out that he just graduated with his master's degree, is in the area, looking for a church. We were able to get him down to the college class after the college class was over to see 30 or 40 other people his age. And I just want to challenge all of us, whether it's elders, deacons, evangelists, every member, to be on the lookout for people like that and make this a place where there's nothing like being here. And the other data point I had was I saw somebody post about a church in Columbus, and they said, "Oh, I love listening to their service online." That's great, but I want us to make this a place where we look forward so much to being here, and there's nothing like being here in person. So that's my admonition for 2024, I guess. So Greg, you have 5 minutes. The timer has started.
5 minutes.
No more than 22 minutes.
I've got the clicker. Well, to give you just a bit of an overview, something that was very important this past year was our work in Korea, and in particular, the way in which we were able to reach out to the youth in that country, both in our May trip, where we inaugurated the Lads to Leaders program for the Korean youth, and then later in the summer, where we were able to provide a VBS-style work. I'm returning to Korea next month for a couple of weeks to teach an adult class, and then in the summer, I'll be going back to teach another class, and we'll have the opportunity to work with the youth yet again, and you'll be hearing more about that as we move forward. You've also heard quite a bit about the Catholic outreach that we're doing as a congregation. There are many different avenues through which we are attempting to reach out to Catholics and former Catholics. something was very interesting. On Wednesday evenings, I have begun a series with our college students on understanding Catholicism. The first of those lessons was posted online, and there was, at the second week, a Roman Catholic college student who had seen the lesson online and was interested, and he came, and we were able to engage him in some discussion, and he's going to be back. So there are certainly ways in which we are able to reach out, and you'll be hearing more about ways in which you can be involved in this work. We have upcoming sermon series. On Sunday mornings, we have our Biblical Bounce Back series. Stop shaking your head, Brandon. It's an outstanding series. Where people in Scripture, men and women of faith, have faced challenges of various sorts and were able to overcome through their faith, relying on the strength of God. And of course, this brings it into a practical application to our lives. For all of us are in need of revival, resilience from time to time. On Sunday evenings, as we've seen the 10 words, as we take the 10 commandments and look how to apply those in our lives, we will have at the close of the 10 commandments, because of course, there are only 10 of them. And so to make the quarter round out, Landon Wright is going to do 2 weeks on giftedness, move to the gifted class. I do want to highlight also our Ohio winter lectures. Doesn't that look like a wise owl? So remember, OWL is coming up. The overall theme for OWL is Faith on Fire, Igniting Spiritual Growth and Unity. We have an outstanding slate of speakers, but in addition to our main series of lessons that will be held in the auditorium, we also have a song leading track. John Wigan, who was with us before, is coming back to work with our song leaders. So if you are a song leader, or if you're interested in learning how to lead singing, John is providing that instruction. As we look at the Ohio Winter Lectures, we see that there will be many states represented. Normally we have 7 or 8 states represented at the lectures. Many brotherhood exhibits. We have programming for children and teens. It'll be a wonderful weekend. Please do not miss that. That's all I have.
Was that under 5 minutes? Did he do that? I was not expecting to be ready already. Okay, just a quick broad overview. How do you sum up an entire year working with college students and young professionals in 5 minutes? You don't. You do your best. So just as a quick update, we have had a lot of things that have been going on over this past year, just a ton, especially back on campus. So as a quick overview, I should note this, going back to June of 2022 and to where we are today, a lot of things have changed from where we had about 4 or 5 active students at that point in time to close to 30 to 40 right now, just in that span of time. Predominantly, and most of that has been because of the existing college students, because of what they do, how the culture they've created around themselves of being able to welcome others, to see others as they come in, and to invite their friends along the way. So it's been definitely on them. Now, we changed this a little bit, especially on the campus ministry, because what we call an active student is someone who participates in at least 2 things a month, not counting Sunday mornings and Wednesday nights. Okay? Sunday mornings and Wednesday nights, I tell this to them all the time. I expect you to be here and worship if you're a believer. You don't get credit for that. That's what you're supposed to do as a believer in God. What I do count is when they choose to be there on times outside of when God calls us to worship together. That's a choice. The other is the respect you honor with God with your life. And so this is how I actively see what an active student is versus others. We have a lot of students who are out of town during the semester. This morning was an example where we have what I call the Great Migration, which is where students leave and then students come home. And this morning, I think with adults and the rest, we had 48 in our college class this morning, which was fantastic. We had people on couches all the way in the back. Great problem to have, especially in light of where we were just a couple of years ago. Lots of students bringing their friends, growing, encouraging one another, and I'm excited about that. This is kind of where we have three types of participants that participate in our program. The first one is college students at OSU, at Ohio State. We have about 10 to 15 that fall within this group of individuals. We also have quite a few that are homegrown, kids who grew up in Columbus who are elsewhere. They go to other schools, Miami, Dayton, Harding, Freed-Hardeman, and the rest, but call Columbus home, and so they come home. They're here 3 or 4 months out of the year, including weekends like this one and others when they're back over break. There's about 40 of them that fall in that realm. And then we have what I like to call our mentors, our young professionals. This is a very fast-growing group, and it shifted, I think, right before I got here because we had David and Jordan and others that were kind of in the young professionals, and then they got into those 30s now, right? They have now hit the 30 range, and we have a very large group between the ages of 24 and 28 that went from 1 or 2 that were here to close to probably 15 or 20 if they all show up at the same time that are working in our local area, that come, engage with our students, work with them, spend time with them, and we love having them as part of our ministry. We kind of had a relaunch of what it meant to be a Buckeye for Christ on campus. And the key part of that is that we became a Bible study group. Every Tuesday night on campus, we have what's called the Bible study, because when you're at the Ohio State, you just add the word the and it works. And so we have the Bible study on campus. That started in January of this year. And so this has just finished our first 2 full semesters doing this, and it has grown from 5 students the first week to where our last week, this past time, we had 29 that were part of our Tuesday Bible study on campus. These are just some of the photos, especially this year. We studied through Mere Christianity this semester. And so you see all of the students there. They are actively signing over 100 copies of Mere Christianity that we gave out to students at the student fair. In fact, this was at the student fair. Some of you have seen our new booth that we have out there that we had out, I believe, for the back to school blast and the rest that has the Buckeyes for Christ. We were on campus with 40,000 students for 4 hours straight. And it was not too hot. We were in the shade. It wasn't too bad from that standpoint. But we had over 2,000 interactions in 4 hours with students walking across, seeing the booth. We handed out 550 flyers, 200 pamphlets, 2,000 stickers, 220 plants, 100 signed copies of Mere Christianity, and over 1,000 popsicles in 4 hours. And by the way, we didn't sign it like C.S. Lewis, this was me. We actually had them write notes of encouragement or how the book had impacted them alongside of it. We put all of our contact information, and believe it or not, we saw a couple of different students, I think 3 or 4 different students who came and participated throughout the semester specifically because of this event. And so it was a wonderful one to have. Here's some more images of that actual event, of them engaging. You can see the students coming up. It was just a nonstop for 4 hours of students coming and being part of seeing what we were all there doing. Monday nights, somebody asked, what's a normal schedule look like? Sundays, we are here to worship and we have Bible class. Monday nights, we have what we now call the table that will start this spring. So many of you have actively helped with this, and it's been fantastic. You've signed up to provide a meal. We've loved spending time with you. In fact, we're doubling down on that in the spring. It's still only 1 day a week, but I would love to encourage each and every one of you, if you have opportunity, to sign up to host this meal. It's at the building here, so you don't have to come down to the campus or the rest. We host it here at the building, and this next year it's going to be fantastic. We started off, I can't see that number anymore down there. I'm going to look. 11, and by the end of it, we were averaging about 20 that would come to our Monday night devotionals and meals together. This is kind of what that crew looked like at the beginning last year. Then we started our study on Mere Christianity on Tuesday nights, and that has grown exponentially to a point where we had 10, 11 at the beginning to about 25 to 30, even as much as that by the end of the semester. It's on campus. If you haven't seen our office on campus, it looks a little bit like, let me go back one, like this. This was our last Christmas party night, our final Mere Christianity study of the semester. We have 20 to 25 that will come and be part of that. We have a great space on campus to spend time together. Truly love that space and have a great relationship with them there. This follows into So you have Monday night devotionals, Tuesday nights we have studies on campus, Wednesday nights, we're back here for Bible class, and Thursday nights we have what's called the Rabbit Hole Study. Now this is online. The same thing I teach on Tuesday nights, I teach live on Thursday nights. And on Thursday nights, we have what I thought was for a few students who were out of state originally who asked to be part of the study, so I said I'll stream it online if they'd like to be part of it. Started off with 5 the first week. By week 13, we had about 1,000 a week that were tuning in to watch. Wasn't expecting that. And so we have a large number of individuals who are coming and watching and being part of that study online right now. The group online has over 250 participants, but over 1,000 are watching every week those live studies. This is kind of what that looks like. If you ever to tune in online, you would see kind of a live study of what that study looks like. One of my favorite stories from this semester was one of our college students inviting 2 friends on one Wednesday night merely because he needed a ride. And then they came, and by the end of the night, they were both baptized. It's quite amazing what happens when friends simply talk to other friends, and both of them, and if you want to hear that longer story, I'd love to share it with you about them, but what it comes down to is you never know what hearts God is working on before you even talk to them. And this was a living example of just about 4 weeks ago, I believe, this is what happened. So what's new for 2024? This is a very quick thing. We have Monday nights, Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights, Thursday nights, and as you can tell, more. It's fairly consistent with this. Our website is up. If you haven't been checking this out and seeing, we do have Buckeyes 4 with the 4christ.com. You can go check that out any time and see what's going on at any point in time. We do have a new app that's coming out, a Buckeyes for Christ app. So many of our students are on their phones quite a bit. This app will have a live schedule of all upcoming events. So if you're a mom or dad and your kid is elsewhere, we will be live streaming all the classes, all the stuff that we have in this will be live in this app where they can connect in and feel part of what we're doing here year round, not just when they come back over break or when they're here in the summer. I'm very excited about that. That'll be out in about 2 weeks. And yes, you can download it too. It's free. It will not cost you anything to download it. You can follow along with our studies, what we're doing, encourage the students, let them know that you're there for them. We finished Mere Christianity, and now we're diving into the Screw Tape Letters. How many of you have read Screw Tape Letters? A few of you. It's going to be a fun one anytime you come from the demon's perspective, but it was one the students chose, and so we're very excited about diving into this book and providing it as an opportunity for them to invite friends on campus to come and study with us on Tuesday nights. Monday nights, as I noted, it's now called The Table. Each one of our students has taken on a week. They get to host their own pop-up meal. You help provide the meal, they'll provide the entertainment and the schedule of what's happening, from the devotional to, we've nicknamed a few of them. I think the first one is Edward's Armenian Nights. Is that what we're calling it? And I believe we also have Kelly's, I think, is Kelly's Karaoke Night, spelled with a K, which is just weird. We shouldn't do that. That's too many Ks. We have a lot. Some of y'all got that. But we have quite a few of our students that are diving into and taking ownership of these individual nights, and we're going to have a lot of fun with that. Come be part of that. Sign up. Spend time with the students. They love spending time with you. But also, let me just close out really quickly and saying thank you so much for your support this year. It's been fantastic. We are so excited about what we're going in. And I need to say this over and over again. The reason why students keep coming is because of the students. It's because they have created a culture where it's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay that way. That it's okay to be a place where they can come and spend time with one another. You don't have to fit into one group. We have some, many of our students may not know this, that are agnostic, atheist, or no background in church whatsoever, but they feel comfortable because these students have made it such. And I'm so grateful and proud of them for all the hard work that they've put in creating that atmosphere for these students. But also for you, this could not happen without so many of you that have been backing us for years, and I'm so incredibly grateful. If you haven't got plugged in, come talk to me. I'd love to plug you in. If you want to just come and spend time with us on campus, see what they look like, we'd love to have you do that too. I'll turn it over to Clay.
All right, for this first part, you have to imagine that I'm 80 pounds lighter and 30 years younger, and I have blonde hair, and my name is Landon. Landon is sick today, sick as a dog, as I understand it, so I'm just he sent a few slides. He also appreciates everything that everyone does to help our teenagers at this church. And I'll tell you, we have amazing teenagers here and amazing college students. We have just an amazing congregation, and we are so blessed to be here. So first thing, and these are kind of just announcements for 2024, a little bit of a beginning of looking at things. So on Sunday, January 14th, the youth group always has a lock-in after evening services going into Martin Luther King Day. This year, from 7 to 8, the teens will host a parent banquet. So this is a little bit different. Parents, you thought you'd have the whole evening away from your kids? Not this year. The parents will be served dinner, and they will be entertained, and all parents of our teenagers, 7th to 12th grade, are encouraged to attend. The second thing is the 2024 Youth Rally. The dates will be the last weekend of April, as you can see, April 26th and 27th. Pickerington is going to partner with us on this. Drake Jenkins will be the keynote speaker. The schedule is set, but Landon notes that they still need help. Contact Landon if you're interested in volunteering, and his phone number is on the front of the bulletin, in a lot of your phones, and up there on the screen. And then miscellaneous. The CYC is February 23rd to 25th. The in-house Bible Bowl is scheduled for March 9th. Lads to Leaders is March 29th and 30th. The Youth Rally, which we've talked about a teeny bit, is April 26th and 27th. And then camp, the Greg Tidwell Week at Fort Hill Christian Youth Camp, is June 16th to 22nd. And of course, the Saturday before that will be a pre-camp. Greg will talk about it for about 17 Sundays straight leading up to it. So you'll get lots of information on that. And then, very exciting, really for all of us, I think we all liked Griffin. Griffin Webster is going to be the youth intern again this summer. So he was in a situation where he has graduated, but there's a little bit of time before he starts his next thing. And so he's going to be the youth intern. So that's pretty exciting. It'll be good to have him back. All right. Add 70 pounds, add 30 years. And now I'll be Clay for a little bit. So when we have our meetings with the elders, when we report from our staff meetings, as Ron mentioned this morning, one thing I like to do in my portion of the report, and I shared this with the deacons as well, is to talk about an upward vision. We cannot linger in the past. We can't be unwilling to grow. Sometimes churches are unwilling to grow. They just get stuck in a rut and they're unwilling. And we must determine to move. So I talk about that for a little bit. And then I talk about an inward evaluation just for a little bit, and way less tonight, obviously. I'm just showing you the first slides of these. But I do want to read this one because we have 4 men who are about to be elders, assuming everything proceeds as planned. So we'll have 10 total elders, and Hebrews 13:17 says, "Obey your leaders and submit to them, for they are keeping watch over your souls as those who will have to give an account. Let them do this with joy and not with groaning, for that would be of no advantage to you." So these 10 men who serve us, these 10 who are going to be our shepherds, or already are and will be, we want this to be a joy for them. In fact, if you want to look at this as a command, look at it as a command. We are to behave in such a way that this is a joy for them. They don't want to have to do this with groaning. And we don't want our elders to be groaning, do we? No, we do not. So it would be not good for the kingdom at large and not good for us. So let's do all we can. And that's what I talk about with the 4 of us. Let's do everything we can to make their job a joy. With the deacons, we mentioned that. And just as a congregation, let's let them be able to do their job with joy and not with groaning. I think that's really, really important. I put this picture up for the deacons just because I wanted everyone to be reminded of Landon with long hair. And, all right. So anyway, we consider ourselves a team. And we consider ourselves with the elders a team, and then of course with the deacons, and the whole congregation really is a team. We often say family, which I think is actually more appropriate. We are the body of Jesus Christ. But to think of ourselves as a team is also advantageous. To realize that we are working together for a common goal. We all have different roles, but we're moving in the same direction. And I think that's really, really important for us. So I'm just going to focus on 2 things and then I'll be done. And I want to, Are the Wilmans back there still? They were okay. I could not remember the number. So I put hundreds, which is accurate, but we served, I think it ended up being over 300. It didn't hit 350, I don't think, but we served over 300 kids this past summer. And what an amazing thing. And this is all thanks to you. The common theme of this meeting tonight is thank you to the congregation here on Fishinger Road. And so Angela Willman, along with Lori Sarkle, they kind of head up the organization of all the backpacks and all the school supplies. And you guys know they do the online sign up now and all that different stuff to make it run as smoothly as possible. Mindy Ingram takes the lead on organizing all the clothing that we have for the families. And we had so many families come through that we ran out of clothing earlier than we ever have, but that's okay. They're coming for school supplies. That's the main goal. We want to give school supplies to the kids. But a lot of kids, probably approaching 100 of the kids, maybe even 150, got to take some clothing home with them as well. Nolan, Patty, and Dana has always helped them too. The Fullers have done the organization of the outside stuff. Audrey and Phyllis Hardy have helped with that. This year they couldn't, but I know they'll help again with the outside games and things like that. Justin and Megan Reynolds always help with the food, keeping that organized. Karen Carter has helped with that. The benevolence group, the food pantry group, has helped the last couple years, just letting the people who come for the clothing and the school supplies, letting them know, hey, we run a food pantry here, and that makes a difference. People come in after being at Back to School Blast, and they come in and get food from the pantry. And then there are just so many others who help. Jennifer and Peggy do the registration. And I'm just going to read off some random other helpers. Richard and Tracy Osborne, Phil, Cindy, and Carter Freeman, Jason and Stasia. I should mention Stasia and Peggy and Greg's friend Janice. There's face painting that goes on, and they have a really good time with that. I feel like someone else did face painting. Who else did face painting this year besides Stasia and Janice? Anyway, who? Oh, Caitlin Dugan, yes. So thank you to Caitlin as well. And just so many people are here and supportive. Jordan and Nicole Langlois, John and Nyla Langlois. Did I say Jordan and Nicole Langlois? Jordan and Nicole Tidwell. David Tidwell's helped. The Williams have helped. Just all sorts of people, and we really, really appreciate that, of course. This is a list of some of the schools. This does not include all of them. This is the first half of the stack, just to show how many different schools we have kids come from. So let me talk about Ghana a little bit, and then I will be done as well. Our ministry in Ghana is, again, all thanks to all of you who provide donations for that and help with that. We spend most of our time in the greater Accra region, which is this little region down here. Victoria's home is about here, and she's near Mensa Bar, and we help that congregation, and some of the ones near there. The Mensa Bar Church of Christ, the Oyibi Church of Christ is near there, and the Teshi Church of Christ is one, and I'm going to show you some slides from there. They have a connection with Bear Valley Institute out in Colorado, and they have a connection with them, and the minister there teaches for them. The people there can get credits at Bear Valley, and so that's a really cool thing, and we like trying to help them with that. All those churches are located in this area, in the greater Accra region. Mensa Bar is right there. The Oyibi Church is just a little bit south, and then down here is where Teshi is, and we enjoy that congregation. They're a congregation of 200 or 300, so it's a larger congregation than Mensa Bar and Oyibi, and they do a great job there. So we have those three, and then the first year I went, and this past year, I was able to go up into the eastern region, and there are a bunch of smaller congregations there. But let me show you a few pictures before I go into that. So this is at the Teshi congregation, and they're building classrooms on top of the building. So in the back, above where the stage is, where the worship leaders are, on top of that, there's an apartment for the minister, and then they're building classrooms to be better equipped to teach the young men who are going to Bear Valley. And so right now they just kind of do it in the main assembly area, but just everything just always needs a little bit of help. They have to get lumber. They have to have a little bit of labor. They pretty much do the labor themselves. This is the minister there at not that guy, but the other guy. That's the minister at the Tessie Church of Christ. The guy in this picture, you can see Victoria in the back with these kids. The guy on the right side of the picture, his name is Joseph, and he's the one that really does hard work for all the congregation, well, not all, but for about 12 to 15 congregations in the eastern region of Ghana. And this was just on a weekday, but some of the people that didn't have to work that day gathered together just on a front porch to greet me and have a little Bible lesson. And so this is part of one of the churches in that region, and this is the man who does most of the preaching there. This is Joseph and myself, obviously. This congregation is out in the, really out in the middle of nowhere. They do not have electricity in this village. And to charge their cell phones, still with no electricity, everyone has a cell phone. So if you go to Africa, everyone has a smartphone. And it's how they do commerce. It's how they do various things. And so 2 years ago, I didn't see this. This last time, there were little teeny solar panels on top of the roofs, and I mean just this big, but it's enough to charge a cell phone. And so you have this little teeny solar panel and then a wire running into the house where they can plug in and charge their phones. So really amazing what's happening around the world. Brandon might know some of, I mean, just the rest of the world, they're like, we won't be to where they are as far as using cell phones probably for 10 years. I mean, it's just amazing. We are actually way behind even a third world country. This is the road that gets to that village, literally just in the middle of banana trees and all sorts of amazing things. Just it's an adventure. I didn't realize, I mean, believe it or not, it didn't affect me. You would think it would have, but after we went to the village and got back, Victoria, Joseph, there were a couple other guys in the car that were going, every single one of them, they could barely walk getting out of the car. You would think that would be me, but I was fine, but their backs were all hurting from the up and down and just the ride, which is totally insane. But anyway, they have a great little congregation. This again was on a weekday. I was at Tessie preaching on the Lord's Day this last trip. So all these other visits were just people who happened to be available on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever day. This is a little Church of Christ that Joseph helps with as well. And with every congregation, and Victoria is the one that organizes this and gets it put together, but we provide communion supplies. Those are sparkling grape juices, and we provide some trays for them, some prepackaged things for communion, not the cups and chalices that we have, but other supplies. The big long strips of the cups, if you've ever done that, you know what those are like. And they just really appreciate it. They can't get that stuff. And so for us to be able to provide a couple communion trays makes a really big difference for them. And this is still in the eastern region. This is in Atibi. And this building is still under construction. And their signs, I think they put them out at the appropriate times just so they don't get stolen. But anyway, just a lot of different things going on over there. Again, none of it could happen if it wasn't for you all and providing time and money for it to happen. This is one of my favorite times. No offense to anyone in Africa, but I'm always glad to get on the plane and head home. And you can see 10 and a half hours to New York, and then a little flight, a little hop to get here. A couple little personal items. This is Victoria's aunt, and this is the only person left alive of Victoria's mom's generation in her family. And this lady is like 103 years old now. And I took a screenshot the first year that I met her, and it was 111 degrees Fahrenheit at her house. So yeah, it was pretty hot where she was. And then this is Victoria's daughter, Joanna. She just got married. We baptized her. He wasn't quite her husband yet. We baptized her fiance 3 trips ago, and then they got married, and they now have a baby. and the baby's name is Rena, named after my mom. And so we call the baby Little Rena, and that means we call Mom. Oh, she's shaking her head. But anyway, really, really cool to have the baby named after Mom. That's a really, really neat. And then to end up the evangelist time, Ron, how do you want? Are you going to come back up and pray or anything, or just okay? This was the most recent picture of the four of us. We are out to eat, obviously, with Song, and Ron was with us. But we want to say thanks. I mean, this is a fabulous congregation to be a part of. We have amazing elders. We're about to have 4 more amazing elders, again, assuming everything goes well with that. And we just say thanks. We're really appreciative. We know we have your support. We know that when we ask for anything, it happens. People just jump and do things for the greater good of the kingdom. So we appreciate it. Let's pray together, and then we'll be dismissed. God, we thank you so very much for all your blessings. Father, I thank you for the men I get to work with. I thank you for this congregation. And Father, all of the evangelists here, we are so appreciative of the opportunities that you give us day by day by day to serve and to do things for the kingdom. We know it's a great blessing. We cannot imagine being able to do what we're able to do, and we give you the glory. Father, we thank you for the great people here at this congregation, and we pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen.